So, the left has been calling the right conspiracy theorists and election deniers for years now. But we all know they have no problem being hypocrites. And since they lost in such spectacular fashion to Trump, with zero guidance from their party, and with no creativity, are you surprised at all that they've become such election-denying conspiracy theorists? The left is looking for their own Joe Rogan. They don't come up with their own ideas. They just make Jesus a queer black woman. Black queer woman to play Jesus Christ in Jesus Christ Superstar musical at Hollywood Bowl. Cynthia and Vero will be playing Jesus in the upcoming Hollywood Bowl production of Jesus Christ Superstar. But their neurosis knows no bounds. They already feel a certain way about Trump, and they are hell-bent on finding any reason to doubt this man's legitimacy. Even dissecting Elon's 4-year-old son's baby speak into wild theories.
But okay, it's Trump. Dude says a lot of stuff. Stuff just pours out of his wobbly little mouth. It's hard to know what's true. Do we have anyone who could clarify this?
Yeah, I guess so. All right, we got mini-me here.
Yeah, we're in SpaceX and quietly just do whatever we want.
When we're at SpaceX, we just quietly do whatever we want, he said.
Bro, the kid still has a baby laugh. I could do an armpit fart and this kid would shit his pants laughing. Clearly we should hang on his every word, in between his toddler giggle fits, and apply whatever he says to our national election security.
All right, we're not done.
What's your assessment? Did this work? Is he going to win?
Yeah, it is. Not for now. No.
I think it's done.
You think it's done?
Yeah.
But not for now.
Huh.
He just said, they'll never know. The kid just said, they'll never know.
Oh my god, Kyle, you're right. I also heard Elon's son ask, it was a very odd question, why did the chicken cross the road? Odd question to ask, don't you think? Why a chicken? Why crossing a road? But here's the weird part. His answer was to get to the other side. Get to the other side of what? He doesn't say. We don't know. Who's the chicken? Is that a code name for someone in Trump's administration? And by crossing over to the other side, does that mean now they're going from one side of the road, the left, and crossing the road to the right? Is that what he means by that?
Elon goes, I think it's done. His kid goes, they'll never know.
Cross the road?
They'll never know what?
To get to the other side.
What'll they never know? This is like when they were in the White House the other day, Elon and Trump, and X was there with them.
Just like this.
And X said to Trump, you're not the president and I want you to leave.
Whoa.
Or something along those lines. You're not the president. You're not the real president and I want you to leave.
Oh, you got Trump dead to rights, Kyle.
A kid this age, this is what you need to understand. A kid this age...
You're a stepfather to your wife's 3 kids.
They kind of copy whatever people around them are saying, whatever their dad is saying, whatever their mom is saying. So when Elon says, I think it's done, and the kid goes, they'll never know.
Right.
They'll never know what?
Why did the chicken go to the other side?
Wait. It gets darker. Ready?
I'm not fluent in child. I'm taking night classes, but did Elon's son just say, at SpaceX, we quietly do whatever we want? And then, when Elon said he's confident about the election results, did the child say, they'll never know? Huh. Listen, I'm not a conspiracy guy, nor do I think Elon is smart enough or that anyone could use satellites to hack an election. But that's extremely weird, right?
As always, this is what they accuse the right of doing, but the left does it on steroids. 13% of the population commits 52% of the homicides. That's extremely weird, right? We have such a tiny population of small hats, and yet they're in disproportionate positions of power within banks and mass media. That's extremely weird, right? They'll say you're racist and anti-Semitic, but they have no problem applying that same analysis when targeting a child.
Equally weird that the version of this clip that Tucker Carlson posted abruptly cut all of that out.
Should we help President Trump?
Yeah.
Well, you have. I mean, it looks...
I started this,
I like your laugh. That's a laugh of an honest man.
Hey, it's...
Not only did they cut it out, they cut it out in a very inartful way. They cut it out in a very inartful way. Like, it was very clear there was a hard cut there. Why would you cut that out? Oh, boy.
Oh, boy. We all know what this means. This is how they fill in the cracks of their listeners' heads. The whole point of this is plausible deniability. The whole point of this is to put ideas in your head and go, that's kind of weird. I don't want to sound like a conspiracy theorist or anything, but that's weird, isn't it? Isn't that strange? Anyways, I'm not making any declarative statements, but I just think it's kind of weird that that's happening. A normal human being would hear the laughter of a child and smile and go, listen to that kid laugh. Listen to that kid still sound like a little baby. He's half toddler, half baby. Listen to him laugh and just think of being that kid and what the information he's surrounded by, and who's to say he didn't see a headline that was putting it in people's heads that Elon Musk is the real president. He could have easily been brought past a magazine or a news headline somewhere in person or online and saw that and said it. They've already surrounded the culture with that thought. But no, that's just what I want Kyle to think.
It's like cutting out the Nazi thing before. It's just weird. Like, again, just speculating, but it seems like Elon had perhaps said the words, "they'll never know," to his child in relation to the election, and then Tucker cut out the part where he repeated that. And maybe someone should perhaps investigate that.
I gotta be honest, in the wake of the election loss, I didn't necessarily put much stock in this particular conspiracy about, like, hey, maybe Elon directly got involved and was doing stuff with the vote counting computers, etc. Because that is it's such a difficult undertaking, and I think Elon's a bit of a fucking idiot. Not a bit of an idiot. I think he's just a colossal moron, right? But there were other variations of this conversation, which I thought were much more interesting, but is this possible? I mean, those clips are weird.
No, what's weird is you claiming to be a heterosexual and you have that hair and your wife looks like Mickey Rourke. That's weird. It's also weird that you need to draw these connections to what a child said and program the audience to be like, yeah, that kid just gave up some government secrets. That's the weird part. But let's juxtapose Kyle's musings of Elon Musk's son saying the quiet part out loud with a legendary journalist that's gonna give us a whole host of data when it comes to voter suppression.
42.3%, a lot of numbers here. Oh, that's about half, close to half of all provisional ballots
42%
are rejected.
It's like half.
So that would be over 1 million ballots thrown in the dumpster. Now, whose ballots? Again, according to the government, your chance of you being shunted to a provisional ballot is 300% more likely if you're Black, Hispanic, or Asian American.
So this data was clearly calculated with the premise of dividing all of society into white versus not white. He may have been able to slide that one by if he just said blacks and Hispanics, but he included Asians. There is no statistic in all of human history that equally impacts blacks and Asians. There's no way that this 300% figure applies to blacks, Hispanics, and Asians equally. Nice fedora, dork.
And how did this happen? We've always had these Jim Crow effects, but why was it worse this year? According to the Brennan Center for Justice at NYU Law School, and they're the best at this stuff, they said that in 30 states, almost all of them red states, 30 states passed laws making it harder for people of color to vote. 30 states in the past 4 years passed laws that are targeted at removing Black voters.
Sorry guys, it's 2025. No one thinks the left gives one shit about Black people. For the love of God, take the L. It's embarrassing at this point. They made it harder for people of color to vote? Did they make voting only available on computers?
Young Black kids growing up in the Bronx who don't even know what the word computer is. They don't know. They don't know these things.
I love it. Not that Black kids don't know what a computer is. Black kids don't know what the word computer is. Doesn't the left think so much of their Black constituents? Sometimes they're talking about Black people without even realizing it, as if they're automatically poor.
Poor kids are just as bright and just as talented as white kids.
But apparently it's a threat to our democracy to have restrictive voting laws. How restrictive are they? I mean, if you were voting in California, they refused to look at your identification. If you wanted to vote in California, they would close their eyes if you tried to show them your ID. Is it really restrictive if you have to show your ID to vote?
Can I get the first 3 letters of your last name?
Yeah, H-E-N.
And the first 3 letters of your first name?
J-O-R. That may be correct.
Can you confirm your year of birth?
It might be 1985. But it might not.
I'm gonna cancel your vote by mail ballot.
1985?
It might be. I mean, yeah, but it might not be.
Well, what is your birthday?
It's 1985. Okay. I'm just saying it might not be. You can't verify it. But I'm just telling you it is.
Okay. Are you you're gonna sign an oath? You're okay with that?
Yeah, I'm gonna sign it oath.
That is 1985.
Yeah, it's my birthday.
Great.
I'm just saying it might not be.
I'm gonna cancel your vote by mail ballot.
You can't see my ID, right? You could just verify my ID, right?
I mean, I take your word for it. It's California.
He says, you could just look at my ID, right? And she goes, well, it's California, I'll just take your word for it. Ah, these harsh voting laws that are oppressing citizens that just want to go out and vote with no ID whatsoever. And we're just trusting people going in to vote that they're giving the right information. That's how secure the elections were under Biden, and why the right was taking steps to verify IDs before people were going to vote in federal elections. So what's the real election conspiracy here? Did Trump and Elon rig the election? Now I know Kyle didn't say that. I mean, I don't want to put words in his mouth. He just thinks it's weird. Let's end it here. What's weird is the left believes being black means being Democrat.
Listen, you got to come see us when you come to New York, VP Biden.
I will.
It's a long way until November. We got more questions.
You got more questions, but I tell you, if you have a problem figuring out whether you're for me or Trump, and you ain't black.
Their skin color equals a vote for the left. The real conspiracy is that the left gives a hot, soggy dog shit about black voters and their cognitive abilities to vote and possibly dress themselves in the morning without assistance. Have a good one.
Do you have an opinion on voter ID laws?
Yeah, they're usually pretty racist and they're bad.
I think voter ID laws are a way to perpetuate racism.
Would you go as far as say those laws are racist?
For sure.
Do you think it suppresses the African American vote?
Definitely.
Tell us how.
Because they're less likely to have state IDs.
Minority voters are less likely to have the kinds of IDs that have been described or required.
These type of people don't live in areas with easy access to DMVs or other places where they can get identification.
You can always get IDs you do over the internet. Does that also make it difficult for black people in particular?
Yeah, you have to have access to the internet. You have to be able to pay an internet service provider for certain fees.
Do you think that's harder for black people to go online?
Well, I feel like they don't have the knowledge of how it works. A lot of people have smartphones, but you might not have data. For most of the communities, they don't really know what is out there just because they're not aware or they're not informed. I also think there's a repression of black voting with how if you're a convicted felon, you're not allowed to vote and everything. And when you look at swing states like Florida, that's a huge population of the African Americans.
Now I'm here in East Harlem to ask black people their thoughts on what you just heard. Do you have ID normally? You carry ID around?
Yes, I have state ID.
Do you carry ID?
Yes, I do.
Do you know any black person who doesn't carry ID?
No. Everyone that I know has an ID. Why would they think we don't have ID?
That's a lie. Why would they say that?
Do you have ID?
Yes.
Because I have my ID and my friends have their ID, so we know what we need to carry around.
Everybody that I know have ID. That's one of the things you need to walk around with New York with, ID.
Do you know any black adult who does not have ID?
No, I don't.
Is it a weird thing to even say that?
Yes, it is.
What is this, some type of trick candy cameras?
I know, right? That's the only thing I brought with me.
Those are legit IDs. I heard a lot also that black people can't figure out how to get to the DMV.
Really?
What does that say to you?
I know it's that. It's on 25th Street.
Do you know where the DMV is around you?
It's on 125th Street and 3rd Avenue, I believe.
You know how to get there?
Yeah.
Did you have a problem getting there if you had to get there?
No.